The stimulus check is not a loan. The stimulus check is not a loan. Again. Stimulus check is not a loan. The one thing is, for certain, is I can't play this damn thing worth of shit. And so funny too, because now that I have so much time on my hands, like I can play the piano, right? Play keyboards, etc. Wanted to be Prince back in the day. Like honestly, what guy in the 80s did not want to be Prince? Cool. Didn't want the shortness though. Cool. All the ladies loved him, and he was a hell of a musical talent. None of which I have. So, what I do have is information today, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take a sip of coffee. That's so rude. Anyway, welcome to today's show. I'm your host of the Startup Junkie, and yes, this is a business show dedicated 100% to entrepreneurs, but also dedicated to bringing you, yes you, information that affect your lives from a business aspect, from a financial aspect. And of course, no, I am not here in a suit, but I do have a vest on, no tie. And I'm coming to you now, unlike I used to come to you back in the day on the radio, as I was told I had a face for radio. I think that was an insult, but who knows? But nonetheless, I'm here today to help you understand or to put a nail in the coffin of the information that's spreading all across all these social channels about the stimulus check being a loan. All right. In addition to that, and I took some notes, so I'm definitely going to get into it, and I'm going to share with you the other things that I'm going to talk about. Stimulus check is not a loan. Checks are not taxable income. Gig workers, independent contractors, and self-employed people. I'm going to talk to you about how you can get a stimulus check. Also, I'm going to talk about student loans. I'm going to talk about who actually qualifies, such as, because there's this misnomer, and I'm going to debunk a bunch of ish out there, such as people on Social Security or SSDI, which is Social Security disability benefits, or if you're receiving railroad retirement, that you don't get a check. And that is 100% bullish. All right. So basically, let me just kind of give you the long and short of it. If you have a Social Security number and you don't fall in certain categories, such as a dependent or a child, most likely you're going to get a check. In fact, they say a little bit over 96% of all Americans will receive a check. Now, let me tell you what sparked today's show. All right. So let me just get into it. Stimulus check is not a loan. I'm your host, AJ of the Startup Junkie. Of course, you can catch our show, the Startup Junkie live show, multi-streaming across at least 3 pages right here on Facebook, as well as on YouTube Live and Periscope/Twitter Live. And we do go live on Instagram from time to time, and we are getting into that. And we will be going live on Twitch very, very soon. Now, what sparked today's show? Now, I saw, scrolling through the feeds today, I saw this lady who posted, hey, I just received my stimulus check in my bank account. This is definitely a loan. It is not a loan. So let me explain to you what it is. The stimulus check is what you call a tax credit, okay? You might be saying, AJ, well, what is a tax credit? Now, I'm not trying to be condescending because I know many of you know what a tax credit is. However, there may be some people out there who don't know what a tax credit is. Some people call it a tax rebate. Nonetheless, it is the preferred thing that you want when you're doing your taxes as opposed to just having a tax deduction, right? Because as you see, tax deductions don't necessarily lower your responsibility of actually paying, or the amount of taxes that you actually have to pay. In fact, the bigger the tax credit, the more likely you are to receive a refund. But not only that, I'm going to talk about what happens if the government overpays you, right? They give you too much money. Do you have to pay it back? The answer is no, right? And I'm just not just throwing things out there, right? I am sharing with you information because if you look in the feed or if you look in the description of this live show, you'll see the actual sources, CNBC and, of course, Smart Assets, okay? So with that said, let's just get into it and let's look at what exactly is a tax credit. Now, a tax credit is an amount of money that taxpayers can subtract from their taxes owed to the government. Unlike deductions and exemptions, which reduce the amount of taxable income, tax credits reduce the amount of tax owed. Now, I am about to give you a prime example of what that means. As I shared earlier with you in the promo, my wife and I pretty much have to pay taxes every year. Why? Because maybe we don't have enough taxes taken out, or maybe we made a little bit more than we thought we would make. And, but at the end of the day, for the most part, we literally have to pay taxes. We actually start getting refunds when we decided to, one, go back to school, right? In which the government actually gave a tax credit for us, doing something to improve our lives. And besides, people get student loans, so they figure they'll get you one way or the other. But that's just a personal side note that I personally think that it is. But they give you a tax credit. Here's the example. Let's just say we owe on our taxes $400 to the government, right? This is the amount that we owe, right? But we get a deduction of whatever it is, $26,000 plus or whatever, from the actual income that we can actually reduce from our income. It's a tax deduction, right? But the tax credit we get from the Economic Opportunities Act or something like that, I think that's what they call it for actually going to school, is like $1,000. So let's just say my wife and I both are in school, right? We both get $1,000. We owe $400 in taxes. That $1,000 represents a tax credit. That's money. The credit minus what we owe, just like the definition said, equals the difference. So if we got $2,000 tax credit and we owed $400, they would take the $2,000, subtract it from $400, and $1,600 would be left. Hence, that's what we would be getting in the form of a refund check. So all those people out there that are spreading the information or the misinformation about the tax, the stimulus package check or the stimulus check is a loan, it's nonsense, right? But don't take my word for it. What I'm going to do now is I am actually going to share with you my screen. This is straight from CNBC. Will you have to pay back the Corona stimulus check plus 6 other myths, that's S plural, debunked? So let's just scroll down and let's read this, okay? And I'm only going to focus on this one part because this is the primary part that I need people to understand, that you really got to stop listening to what everybody is saying and start doing the research for yourself. Okay. Number 2, I will have to pay back the stimulus check next tax season. Assuming all of your information on your tax return is correct, you will not have to repay the check next spring. All right. You may even receive more money when you file your 2020 taxes, while the checks are based on 2019 and 2018 returns to get your money now. They are technically credits, as I said to you, for the 2020 taxes per the tax foundation. All right. So this is per the tax foundation, right? If it turns out that you should receive a larger credit based on your 2020 adjusted gross income, which is your AGI, then you will receive the difference next year. If a taxpayer's income drops, they will be eligible for any remaining rebate. Like I said, the credit is considered a rebate credit they were not able to claim using their 2019 or 18 taxes. On the other hand, you will not be penalized. Like, this is the most important part. You will not be penalized by the IRS if your 2020 AGI, which stands for adjusted gross income, is higher than the years according to the tax foundation. If the amount of the credit a taxpayer qualifies for in 2020 is less than based on their 2019 return, it does not, I am going to say again, it does not have to be paid back. So how do we break that down? If it does not have to be paid back, that means if they give you more credit than you deserve, than they anticipate you getting, they're not going to penalize you for it. It very clearly states, and this is CNBC, and also be sure to just click on the link inside of the body of this post, this live show post, and check it out and read it for yourself. Do the research for yourself, right? Because it's very important that we understand that all of this ish that's being spread across all of the social channels about you have to pay this back, this is not real. This is not real. In fact, I never come to you with information that I'm guessing or guesstimating or whatever. Again, like I said, pulling my guitar back out, which you know I can't play. You do not have to pay back the stimulus check that goes in your account. So, yes, I'm acting silly. You know why? Because I think it's silly to tell people that this is a loan, especially when there's so much information out there that says it is not a loan. Now, here's some other things that I like to debunk, all right? Because it's all about bringing you information. Checks are not checks. Some people are saying you're going to be taxed on this. I'm telling you, when you read through what I just shared with you, or those links that I share with you to these articles, you will realize that you're not going to be taxed, okay? Also, I wanted to address gig workers, independent contractors, etc. How are they being dealt with? All right, so let me go back over here to another page. Let me scroll down here, which, by the way, this is my big surprise to you. I'm going to share this, but let me just go down, all right? Because there's a whole lot of stuff or information here that I think you definitely need to check out. So basically, if you are a gig worker, right, or independent contractor, or you just doing your own thing, you're a person in business for yourself, and that's how you get paid, by the gig, definitely look at the websites that I'm sharing in there, because guess what? You do and can qualify for, as I mentioned earlier, if you have at least a Social Security number, 96%, and you're working, 96% of Americans, 96 point plus Americans will receive a check. But more specifically, let's talk about some other stuff. All right. I promised to you that I would bring you a simple, quick way on how you can determine whether or not you're going to get a check, more specifically, how much you're going to get based on your current situation. But let me just say this. Via those two links, also, you'll see that Social Security, SSDI, and railroad retirement people, people that get checks via those way also qualify for a check, because there's a lot of information out here that's saying that these people don't even qualify because they're not paying any taxes or paying into the government. But that's not necessarily true. Okay. So definitely check out the first website that I shared with you. It's CNBC.com. And this one is called Smart Asset. Now, this is where we get into showing you how to determine, and I'm going to do a live demonstration here, how much you're getting on your check. Now, these charts are very useful. Say, for example, if you're an individual or a married couple or head of household, if you make adjusted gross income of $75,000, you're going to get a $1,200 check. All right. If it's a couple, married couple, $150,000, you get a $2,400 check. And if it's a head of household and you make adjusted less than or around $112,500, you're still going to get a $1,200 check. And let me explain this to you, because the head of household was one of the main things that has not been addressed in this situation. Okay. So I'm letting you know, here's something for you, head of household people out there. All right. So let's talk about unemployment. What are my unemployment benefits if I lost my job due to coronavirus? First and foremost, they're going to expand it. Okay. 39 weeks. That's 13 more weeks. You're going to get unemployment. And very, very soon, the extras, they're going to bump it to $600 per week, but that's going to stop after July 31st. Now, I also mentioned this. If you're not receiving if you got laid off, you definitely need to reach out to the unemployment office that's within your city. All right, to get started so you can start getting your unemployment checks. Now, you won't get a stimulus check, but you could get the based on my knowledge of this and my understanding of this, you can get the unemployment with the bump. Now, most people know that tomorrow technically is tax day, April 15th, but the federal government has extended that to July 15, 2020. And also, this is what I wanted to share with you here. Here we go. Here is the calculator that I've been talking about, how you can make this super duper easy for you. And you can find out how much you're getting based on the exact amount of money your AGI, your gross adjusted gross income, is for 2018 or 2019. Let's just say my wife and I are married, right? So with no dependents, right? We're automatically, what the adjusted gross income, let's just say, is $125,000. All right? You can see that, right? So we're automatically going to get $2,400. But I have a child, right? I have one child, and I immediately get a $500 bump based on having a child. Or let's just say I have two children. So I can expect an additional $500 bump for that second child. So the estimated check to be delivered directly into my account is $3,400. Okay. So people, right here also on this same website, which is smartasset.com, we look at single filers and we look at joint filers. So here's a chart for you to quickly understand how much you get paid based on what the amount of money is that you earn. Let's just say you earned over $75,000 as a single person. Say you made $80,000, right? So you would get a check of $950, right? If you made $85,000, you get a check for $700, and it goes all the way up to $99,000, which you will not get anything. And the same is here for joint filers. And here is another chart for those people who are head of household with a child. Now, the reason why I'm also sharing this website with you, ladies and gentlemen, and definitely please chime in and drop your comments. I appreciate you, Paris, for checking in, and all the other people that are watching on all of the platforms, as this website is very, 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 very great because it also breaks down how unemployment insurance will work, the federal income tax filing extension deadline, rent and mortgage payment relief, and guess what, people? Guess what? Believe it or not, it actually, and see, your student loan people are not going to tell you this. Student loans are actually can be deferred up until September 30th, 2020. So let's talk about student loan relief. Let me read it directly for you. To help borrowers during this financial crisis, the CARES Act authorizes the Secretary of Education to suspend payments for federal student loans up to September 30th, 2020. During this period, no interest will accrue on any federal student loan. It has to be a federal student loan, not say if you got a loan from Discover to pay your student, pay for your schooling. But anyway, here's the point. If you read through this, you'll also see that interest is also being waived, right? But you literally have to reach out to your people, because they're not just going to call you up and say, or the student loan people are not going to call you up and say, hey, yeah, we're just going to suspend the loans. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I can tell you this, because I have student loans, they have not done it yet. All right. And anyway, this is as of April. They'll inform borrowers as of April 11th. Well, last I checked, it was April 14th, and I still have not been informed. So I'm going to reach out to those people today. Now, but here's the most important part about this as far as student loan relief goes. In addition to authorizing student loan forbearance, because that's what it's called when they put your loan off for a while, right? Or deferment, but they're going to call it forbearance in this case. The legislation allows institutions of higher education to turn unused work-study funds, like say if you had a job and you were a student worker and you had a job, they can turn those funds into supplemental grants. So if you were on work study, why not reach out to the university and say, hey, am I going to still get this as a grant? Reach out to them, right? And then also students who dropped out because of COVID-19 will not have to pay back federal grants, right? As far as I knew, you didn't have to pay back grants in the first place. So I think there's a problem with the wording here. But what's more, payments for capital financing are deferred for historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, for initial of 180 days. How I took that, or what I took that to mean was, if there's some capital funding, see, capital funding is like, okay, money is invested in order for you to to build on to universities. For HBCUs, they're saying that, and if you're an administrator, you probably already know this, there's a possibility in which you can reach out and say, hey, look, we need a deferment on the interest we're paying or paying the loan back to you. So, whoa, ladies and gentlemen, I am sharing this information with you again today because I wanted to put a final nail in the coffin of the misinformation that's going out there about you having to pay student loans back. I mean, not student loans, I'm sorry, stimulus check back, because it is a loan. It is, again, not a loan. It is a tax credit. And I've given you an example of how it actually works. Not my opinion, based on research. Again, look inside the post of this live show and click on the links yourself. Go check out the research yourself. And that's the only way we do it with the Startup Junkie. And speaking of, be sure to check out the Startup Junkie live podcast on iTunes, iHeart Media, Spotify, as well as TuneIn. And please, I implore you, share this post, okay? Share this across all your social platforms, because it's all about us being informed. It's all about us knowing, what to listen to and what not to listen to. And it's all about us staying safe and protecting one another during this situation. All right? So, until tomorrow's show, everyone, share this. All right? I'm AJ, your host of the Startup Junkie, and I'm out.